All right, so thanks very much, wherever you are, and welcome to the second part. We are looking at packages in R, and today we looked at the Dplyr package. It comes as a single package, and you can also get it through the Tridiverse. Yesterday, we looked at how to be able to use the Dplyr package for data transformation on the rows. If you are using the data frame on the rows, what about if you want to transform the data in the form of columns, in the column section? That's what we want to do today. And then as a result, just sharing my screen pretty, what is it, in a jiffy, and then I will take that opportunity. All right, so let's look at how to be able to transform our data using the Dplyr package. And of course, if we were following the tutorial, if you have not watched where we started from yesterday. Before you be able to run Dplyr, you need to have the Dplyr installed, or you can install it independently, or you can install it you can have it from the Tidyverse package. So when you install the Tidyverse package and then you load it into your R environment, then it becomes available for you to use it. Great. So by columns, there are certain functions within the Dplyr package that we use to transform data column-wise. Column-wise. One of it is mutate. What does the mutate function do? It allows you to be able to create a new variable. And then anytime you are mutating, you are creating a new variable. And that new variable, it can just be some kind of interaction, and then you are good to go. So I am going to come here. For instance, I've already got this particular data set. It's coming from the package NYC flight 13. And then if you don't have it, please install that package and load it as well. And so here, what are we are going to use the mutate function here. And then when we are mutating, we are creating these two new variables here. And then you see that one variable is called gain, another variable is called speed. And then I'm saying that the new variables, you create them and assign them using the equal sign. And then it's kind of like you are going to use some of the existing variables within the data frame to be able to do that. So what are we doing? We are piping into the mutate function departure delays minus arrival delays, and that's going to give us our gain. You see, and then we are also going to calculate speed. Speed is equal to distance traveled divided by air time times 60. And then, so when we do that, we're going to create these two new variables, and then we are good to go. And so if I run that, apart from the data that we're having already, so let me pull this a little bit up. So apart from what we were having already, if we run this, we are going to create a new, new variables, which is this, and then which is also that. So let's try, run that. Because it's a new, and so you see that we're going to have the gain, and then the speed, even though they are not here, it has been worked. Yesterday, I spoke about how to be able to make sure that when you run a data like that, and you have so many variables, you are not likely to see, even up to the end here, you won't see the variables. So what do? We can specify where we want the variables to be. So we can actually say before. So I could have come here to maybe around this particular point. If I come here and then I could say dots before, then it becomes a function. I think I should have put some comma here. Yeah, because it's a new line. Sorry, it's the same line. So if I put dots before, that should come there, and I'm going to say 1. So when I do that, it means I am saying that these two new variables that I am creating, I want them to be the first. They are going to be the first. So gain will be the first column, and speed will be followed by the second column. So when I run that again, you notice that we now have our gain as the first column here. Sorry, as our first variable, the speed as our second. So that's what we normally do. Now, I also simulated my own data called cookies, and the cookies is here. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to pipe into the mutate function a new variable called gross profit and the net profit. Don't worry about what I've done here. It's just for you to see how the syntax work. And so I'm going to run that, and you see that I have created new variables called gross profit and then net profit. And so these are the two new variables I have created. So it will automatically create new variables and add it into your data frame. And then you can specify where you want to put it. You can actually do that. You can say after and before, like I've already indicated around here. I could have said after. So, and I'll indicate that particular variable. If I say before, I could also indicate a particular variable, and then it will simply be run there. And so that's what we are. So another most important function, or maybe let's talk about the gain again. So that's the one I was talking about. So when I put dot before, when you run it, you're going to have the two new variables coming before the rest of the variables. And I've done that for cookies too. So let's look at what is it after. So in this case, I am saying that these two new variables I am creating, which is gain and then speed, they are going to come after the day variable. There will be a day. There's a variable called day. So the two variables will come after the day's variable. So when you run that, you'll notice that it's going to be, so this is the day variable. So the new variable, which is gain and speed, they will come after that, just because we use that function or argument called dot after, which is equal to day. Then you indicate where you want your new variables to be placed. It's the same thing I have also done with my own data that I simulated. And then I wanted my gross profit and my net profit to be after the costs. And then I just did that. And so if you check through, you will also realize that they will be after the costs. And then here. So after the cost, you can see my gross profits, and then you can see my net profit around here. So this is how we are able to. Now we can also use to control which variables are kept with the. So we can also use the keep argument and then use. And then if we run that, we are good to go. We just decided to keep. What are we keeping? We are keeping this the new variables that we have just used. What is it in a moment? So we can use the mutate function in Dplyr to be able to create new variables. You can allow the new variables to interact in the way that you want. You just create the new variables, assign another variable to it. For instance, if I come, maybe let me just do this last one here, and then you get it. So I have a data called cookies here. And so I'm using the pipe operator. Yesterday, I explained how we got this pipe operator. We have the natural pipe operator and then this. And so if I just come here, I am piping into what? The mutate function. And so if I have the mutate function, the first thing I'm going to do means I'm going to create a new variable. What variable am I going to create? Let's say that the government has decided to take 200 Ghana cedis from all the profits. Okay. So that's the new variable I want to create. So the new variable I want to say is that after tax. So I'm just going to say after, let's say, tax, or yeah, something like that. And that's my new variable. And so I would simply just use the equal sign like this and say, what is that after tax? And so I'm saying, I'm taking the profit, which is a variable, and I'm saying minus 200. So I am creating a new variable called after tax. And then I am saying that particular new variable go into the profit variable and subtract 200 Ghana cedis from each of them. And so when I run that, I've created a new variable called after tax. And then come and have a look at it. So you can see the after tax variable, which is here. And that's how we use mutate function. So we use it to be able to create a new variable. Emphasize that. Now, in using Dplyr for data transformation, another important function we use is select. We use the select function. So the select allows you to be able to rapidly zoom in on a useful subsetting. It's much more of like the way we do subsetting in data frame. And so what do? We are just piping into, so we have so many variables here, but we are just selecting only the year, the month, and then the group or the day, and that's all. So when I do that, I'm just going to select only those ones, and it's just going to print only. Yeah, so it prints only that. But the data variables are quite very long. So what I'm simply saying is I have cookies. That's my data frame there. So you press Control, Shift, and M. It will bring out the pipe operator. I just enter because I don't want it to be a long line or a long code. So I come here and I say I am piping into the select. Into the select function. What am I selecting? You select columns because we are dealing with column. When you're using the select, we are dealing with columns. So I'm going to select one of the columns, and I know I have a column called costs. So I can say costs, and then I finished. And what again? And then I can say maybe revenue. I have a revenue here. And so that's what I want. That's all that I want. I'm just selecting the two. And so after I select it, maybe I could have done something. Yeah. So, but let me just, so I've selected it. And then you can see that the cost and the revenue is there. Maybe after the selection, I could have done something, but I'm coming to that. So this is what select is all about. So I'm coming here, I want to select. There are other ways of also selecting. If you check the cookies data set here, let me just run only the cookies data set. You see that we have a lot of variables. Let's say from town, we have town, food, unit sold, revenue, cost, profit, date, month, days, and year. Now, another way of doing the select is that I just selected the cost and then the revenue. What about if I want to select the town, the food, the units sold, the revenue, all the way to profit? What will I do? You don't have to go around and then be able to select all these things. So what you normally do, you use the column. Column means from here to this place. You see, in R base, you can do this when you are dealing with what index. What is the index function allows you to indicate the column number to the last column number. But in this case, you can actually use the variable names from this to this and then to understand. So let's say I have here, I have cookies, and then I am just piping out from the cookies and then into the select function. And then what about, I'm selecting into the, I'm piping to the select function, and I'm saying that I am picking this variable called town. And then when I put this all the way to, let's say, profit. So what I'm simply saying is that pick all from this particular variable here, all the way to this variable, and then leave the rest. So that's what I have just done here. So when I do that, it's just going to print only, it's going to select only from that particular portion. You see that it takes all the way, leave the other columns out, and it select all the way up to this place. That's how we use the select function. And then we can also do the selection based on characters. We can say that we want to select all the columns that contain characters. You see? So in that case, we add an argument called where. So let me come here, and then I have my cookies like this, and then I'm piping the cookies out into the select function. And then into the select function, what am I saying? I am saying that where, these are the, and then the where allows me to be able to say that if the column contains characters, select it. So if I say is actually a question, is dot character like this. So it's going to go into all the, okay, let me put it this way. It's going to go into the cookies, check all the variables, any variable that has a data entry of characters, then it will simply select them. In this case, it will select perhaps the town and then the foods, which are characters. So when we run that, I'll pull this up, you see that it selects only the town and then the foods. And as you can see, the towns are here, Yendi, Najo number 2, and co. And we also have the food because those columns, their data entries are characters. And that's what we do. On the other vein, we could have also selected and asked if they are integers. Then in that case, it will select integers for us. If they are numbers, it will select numbers for us. If they are doubles, it will select double for us. If they are booleans, it will select booleans for us. Then in that order. So that's it. So we can also, we also have the helper functions that you can use within select. And then we can say start with, and then matches with this, do this, and then, so let's say I'm saying that select, and then I can use start with, something that starts with A, B, C. So it's going to go into the variable and then check if there's something that matches with. So, and then you are good to go. Now, these ones, I don't have time to be able to do all of them. I'm going to leave a link below where you can read further on that. Now, rename variables as you select them. So you can rename your variables. So for instance, I have here, I have my cookies, data set. And so Control Shift and M, the pipe operator comes. Then I'm going in there to say that, okay, I am piping into the select function. And now into the select function, I want to rename the profit. You see? So what will I have to create the first name and then assign to it. Okay, so I'm going to say, what is it? It was called profit, right? So I will say profit. And then I'm now assigning it to something we call interest, like this. So, and then when you run that, okay, I have an error here. So maybe I have swapped so let me check once more and see how it will. So I have, let's say, interest. And then I'm going to do that into the profit function. And then that's okay. Yeah, I swapped the positions. So instead of now having it as profit, we have swapped it. We have renamed it. It's just like the way we use. So you can see that now we have it. It is now called interest instead of profit, and that's how it is. So let me pull this down a little bit, and so that pull it up once more, like this. So that's how we are able to do the renaming. Now we can also use relocate to move variables around. For instance, if I go to if I have my cookies, let me come here and just do this briefly. If I have head of, let's say, cookies like this, so you can see that the town is here, food is there, unit sold, and whatsoever. Let's say I want to swap. I want to move this variable, profit, or I want to move revenue into the last column, or I want to move year. Okay, let me put it this way. Year must come first before month, and then date will be the last one. So how am I going to do that? You use a function called relocate. You use the relocate. And so what am I saying? I am moving. Okay, now let me come here. And so I have my cookies. And then I'm simply going to pipe out into the relocate. So the relocate function, what am I relocating? I am relocating year. Okay. I'm relocating my year. And then I'm relocating it to where? I want it to come after date. After dates, like this. Let me try and then. So now if you check, you will notice that I have relocated. So I now have town, food, unit sold. You can see that, oh no, it did not run, or I can't see where. Yeah, it has been relocated. So you can see the year has not been relocated to the first portion. I think that's actually I have relocated the year to the first. That will now become my first, what is it? The two of them will now become my first, what is it, variables before the others. So the year will come followed by the date and then in that order. Not that after this, if I want to relocate to a specific particular place, I'm going to do that. So the first one, what I'm doing here, I'm piping into the relocate function, what, year, and then date. So I'm saying that I want the first variable to be year, the second variable will be date, and then in that order. So when I do that, that's what has just happened here. But what about if I want to relocate to a specific position? If I want to relocate to a specific position. So that's where you use either after or before. So in that case, now let's come to this. So I have cookies like this. And so my shift this and I'll come here. Then I'll use the relocate function here. And I'm saying that what am I relocating? I am relocating just one variable. Just one variable. And I'm relocating what? Year. Okay. So if I have year, then I put comma. Then I have to indicate where I want it to be. So I say dot after. And so the dot after will now tell me exactly where I want. So if I put dates, I am saying that it should come after dates. It will come after dates, right? So forget this last part. This is the one we are dealing with because I do not save it. I'm just running. So the year will now come in between date and month. And that's what I want to do now. So if I run this, then you see that, and I scroll up, you see that we now have date followed by year, month, and then days. This is how we can do the relocate. Then we can also say we can relocate and say that anything that starts with this, anything that starts with this, that's a string. We have given a string and we are saying that any variable that starts with ARR, relocate those particular variables before departure time. So let's come to my cookies data. Then I'm just going to pipe that out and come here and say that I am piping it into a relocate function, into the relocate. Wait, I'm getting the spelling wrong. My relocate function. And you can use, that's where I showed you people that anything that's what we are saying that it starts with. So it starts with what? Okay, I have, if it starts with, I don't know anything that is, they have uniform starting, TFU. Okay, let me just put it this way. Anything that starts with UN. So it will simply go and look at the unit sold. And why am I relocating it to? I am relocating that. So here to where we can use the dot before function. And so to before, and then you now specify where. I am saying that that must come before revenue, or that must come before, let me say, month. And that is it. That must come before month. So is going to simply go and look for any variable that starts with, and so you see that it has relocated units sold, which starts with UN, into before month. And that's what we have just done here. It's quite simple. So ladies and gentlemen, the next video I'm going to be talking about the pipe, what to combine multiple verbs, as to how to be able to use the Dplyr. I will combine how to do how to be able to transform your data row-wise. Also check how to be able to transform your data column-wise. And then if you put that together, so I have selected a column, then how do I mutate what I have selected? And that will be the next video. So watch out. I don't want the videos to be too long. Watch out for this, and then watch out for the next video. Thank you very much. My name is Biba Bright, and please do me a favor by subscribing to this channel. And then by doing that, you are supporting me. Thank you. Bye-bye.